Hi there, welcome to I'll Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Leo energy. And we're going to do this 10 card spread, and we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because not everyone harnesses high vibe Leo energy. Leo energy can represent our egoic nature or our more having been illuminated to the truth and our more loving, nurturing, authentic nature. But life's about learning lessons, and some people could still be caught up more in being about themselves, wanting to be indulged. They kind of indulge themselves, they justify it. They think other people should indulge them, or just more caught up in the world about ego and image or indulgence again, or they're just kind of immature and got some lessons to learn. You know, we do have our dualistic nature, and it's to kind of get balance between the two. We do have our worldly nature, but are we willing to not temper our ego ever, keeping more immature? Or do we temper our more worldly nature, offer ourselves love and encouragement to overcome our fears, to kind of shine our authentic light in the world? And we deal with all sorts of different people in the world. So we're going to read it. People are going to handle this energy differently depending on what their truth is and how they view the world right now. And if they harness a more shadowy Leo energy or a more high vibrational Leo energy. And we just need to see the truth of it, because the truth sets us free. If we see people are kind of haven't learned some lessons in life to work cooperatively with people, or motivated and inspired by being authentic and loving, you know, we can keep trying to change other people, or we can accept the truth, let them go learn their life lessons, and go find people who are more on the same page as you are. And we all tap into Leo. This might be something that particularly people who are Leo sun signs or people who have significant Leo placements, it might be something that they could be dealing with that's a challenge in their life. But then for all of us, because we tap into Leo energy, maybe isn't as significant in our life, but, you know, because every sign, like the emotional water signs, they can be more manipulated in their emotional nature. Maybe air signs could be more manipulated in maybe making a decision, or it can also be your defensive nature, living more from your mind than your heart. You know, and earth signs can get too caught up in things of the world, and it's trying to find a balance between all these things. I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, which the Five of Cups is Scorpio energy, emotional water sign energy, which can talk about we are these emotionally complex human beings. We've all had people in our life that didn't work together with us cooperatively in a loving way, and you know, you have to be inspired to want to work through those things to free yourself from it. Otherwise, those things keep having a hold on you, and you could move forward in the Two of Cups and move forward in life, but because we let those things still manipulate us, it can kind of keep us in our ego or our fear or our defensiveness or regret. The outcome of the story is the Six of Pentacles, which the Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which has to do with our philosophy of life. In high vibe, the Six of Pentacles are people who are balanced. I do have my more worldly foundation, but I also have my more loving, intuitive, creative, inspired nature, and I'm going to work together to, you know, maintain balance within myself. But in high vibe, Taurus would be where you kind of walk the talk from truth and love and justice and fairness. Hold yourself accountable for your actions. Hold other people accountable for their action. There is supposed to be equal give and take, because love, you are supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. But other people, that's not their philosophy of life. And they might like a more transactional, that would be a more shadowy Taurus energy. I like to maybe present myself as someone who walks the talk, but I'm kind of really a little bit more about me, or these things of the world. And if that's their truth, some people just want to be in a relationship because they're sad. Some other relationship didn't work out. I know. I have an idea. Let's go get in a different relationship to make me feel better. Having supportive, encouraging people in your life, is that good? Yeah. But do we really want to go get in another relationship with someone when we haven't worked through the regrets of the past? We might find ourselves at the end of the story, we have the Six of Cups, which can be about working together with other people. But mentally, we haven't worked through the confusion. Again, we're emotionally complex human beings. It takes time to work through our emotional attachments to people, and they could be viewed as being deceptive and manipulative. They could be deceiving themselves. It's not just to go get another job, go get another friend, go get in another relationship, and hope for the best. The truth sets us free. Are we willing to put in work and effort are we going to be manipulated by our ego with the Magician and the Strength card of Leo? Is that how we're going to take action in our life? Or do we believe in ourselves, willing to deal with the truth? We temper our ego. We see where we may be needed to heal and grow and mature ourselves, where other people may be needed to heal and grow and mature ourselves. And we work through our regrets of the past for being a fallible human being who has lessons to learn, working through our regrets of the past that other people we're working with are fallible human beings. We kind of learn the lesson, who do I want to exchange my time, energy, and effort with, and who are the people I don't? And where do I need to get more balance within myself and free myself from things that manipulate me? Was I manipulative? Was I trying to control people? Did I think I was the one who should be indulged? Was I in relationships with people who are like that? The only person we can change is ourselves. And we choose to believe in ourselves. We work through those regrets of the past. And then the Six of Cups can talk about, I've reconciled myself with the past. I've come to a place of peace about it. Everybody had the free will to choose to temper their more worldly egoic nature, to choose love, or they can choose not to. And I can be sad that some people didn't, but I can offer myself that cup of love, going from the Five of Cups to the Six of Cups, to just accept that that is the truth of where some people are at. And it could even just be emotional maturity, because we've all been, had to grow up in life. And sometimes there's people in our life that wish we worked more cooperatively with them and that we would temper our more worldly egoic nature, and we didn't. But, there too, it's like, you can't expect like a 15-year-old to act maybe like a 25-year-old, right? And everybody, regardless of their age, is at their own emotional maturity level. And we just accept the truth of it. Some people have learned some lessons that some other people haven't, regardless of how old they are. And some people, the Six of Cups, can talk about that people still are trying to repeat some poor past patterns of the past. Maybe because they don't want to see the truth that, that really didn't work in the past and it really doesn't work now. But I'm going to keep doing it because that is how I operate in the world. And because some people kind of repeated some poor past patterns, some other people listen to their intuition and it's like, yeah, I don't want to keep moving forward with you. And I'm going to not keep moving forward with you, and I'm going to let you move forward. And I'm going to take some time to work through this. So we start out, though, with the Emperor energy, the Hangman, and the Four of Swords, Aries, Pisces, and Libra energy. Aries energy can be about the self. Pisces energy can be about what our dreams are, but sometimes we have illusions about what it means to be in relationships. And we can be kind of more about ourselves and unwilling to look at things from other people's perspective, because we still have some healing to do in the Four Swords. And we've all been kind of more about ourselves, more about, Pisces energy of the hangman. We just haven't expanded our perception of ourselves and the world around us, and how we view ourselves, how we view others, how we view life, how we view relationships. And we're all kind of manipulated by our past, because we all grew up in family dynamics and certain communities or states or countries where people act in certain ways, and we see other people doing certain things. And in Taurus energy, it can kind of get indoctrinated within us that you should live your life like this and not like that, and this is what I view as just and fair, and we don't think what those people are doing is just and fair, and you should live our life like us. And all those things from the past influence us. And it can affect our perception of ourselves and how we view ourselves and how we view relationships and workplaces and all those things. And for a long time, we can be manipulated again by how we grew up and where we grew up. And we kind of adopt that as our own truth. But it really maybe isn't our truth, because we'll all repeat certain patterns, and life is about learning these lessons. And, we kind of watch what's going on around us. We see how other people do things. We kind of get an impression from other people of what they value, what they think is they don't value, what they think is right and wrong, and all that stuff. And so we can also kind of be manipulated in our more worldly, egoic nature by the people in our life. They're trying to make us live our life the way they live their life, because of course they decided that was just and fair, and that's how they view life. And high vibe energy is about becoming independent. What is my truth? We all could have decided that I do kind of agree a lot with some of the people in my life or people I grew up with, because we also don't know any different. We maybe haven't seen any different. So we think, oh, that must be just and fair. People wouldn't do that if it wasn't like just and fair, right? And so we might not be illuminated to the truth, because we could have some poor examples around us. We could have people who are more about themselves, who could be more bossy and controlling. We could have people around us that are more stubborn or more about their ego and image, and that's the most important thing. And we could have people who are more manipulative, more self-focused, more materialistic focused, and ego focused, or controlling, or live more from their mind than their heart. And all those people have went through this too, and some of them are still repeating some poor past patterns. Well, no, that's the way my family did it, so that's the way I'm going to do it. Now that's the way I'm going to raise my kids. And then when my kids grow up, they're going to repeat this pattern. When do we quit repeating certain patterns? We're supposed to go on this journey of meeting all these different people to help us get more clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't, to see the things that we didn't like and didn't appreciate, and not repeat those patterns. Hopefully, we're supposed to get enlightened to the truth that it's supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. You're supposed to try to manifest harnessing high vibe Leo energy, not for your own ego, but I authentically align with hope and faith and belief and love. I choose to be a loving, giving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person, not just from the vantage point of how it will benefit me. And that's what some people are doing. And they're kind of being deceptive and manipulative, and they might not even see it, because they could have grown up with people who are like that. And they could just be people who live more for their mind than their heart. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, air sign energy like Libra, and anybody can harness that type of energy where they choose to live more from their mind than their heart. It's about, the magician can be, I'm going to put on a show. I've learned from these different people that I've met. I've seen how some people act like this and they treat people like this. I'm going to act like that in order to get people to work together with me in a relationship so that I look like a shining star in the world. So I can look like I have what other people have. Friendships and relationships and a job, but it's not coming from a place of love. It could be, well, I'm sad because something else didn't work out. So, and I might have decided because other things didn't work out in my life or people in my life at one time weren't just and fair and loving. I don't trust people at all anymore. And it's too bad because they're not listening to their intuition. They've probably had other people in their life who, aren't being bossy, aren't being controlling, aren't being manipulative, aren't putting on a show, aren't more about themselves, that really wanted to work together with them in high vibe Scorpio, high vibe Taurus, high vibe Aries, Libra, Leo, Gemini, Virgo. But because some people have so much mental conflict about either having hope and faith and belief in themselves, having hope and faith and belief in others, having hope and faith and belief in love, because they could think that's all an illusion. Everybody is out for themselves. Everybody, yeah, we've all got our shadow nature. But, it's just like everybody was 15 one time. They were 18, they were 21, they were 25. Some people don't have the same mentality of immaturity like they did then. Some people did look at life differently, decided to look at life differently, to heal and believe in themselves and temper their ego, deal with their regrets of the past, and I'm going to let those phases of my life go. I don't want to live my life like that anymore. That's not my truth anymore. And now, from the Four of Swords to the Seven of Swords is taking back the Three of Swords. I'm no longer stuck. I'm no longer conflicted. I'm no longer letting my past pain and heartbreak and all those things manipulate me. I now do have high vibe Seven of Swords because to complete a cycle, you have to get to the Ten of Swords. And the 5 and the 7 are really challenging areas in our life where we have to decide, am I going to keep moving forward or am I going to take a step back? Is this my truth? Isn't this my truth? And it can really cause us a lot of conflict because we got involved in things. We were living life a certain way. We thought we were on the right path. Are we or aren't we? And we have to be willing to listen to our intuition, to not give up our dreams. We also have to learn to listen to our intuition. So in the Seven of Swords, the 5, the 6, and the 7 are all Aquarius energy, which can be about our dreams. So in the 5s, we have a dream. Have we learned to listen to our intuition, which is what the Two of Swords is about, which is Libra energy? Are we maintaining balance within ourselves? Are we maintaining balance in our relationships? Are we listening to our intuition? Or do we get more caught up in our mind and our fear and our defensiveness or our lust or our greed or whatever? Do we keep listening to our intuition or do we keep ignoring our intuition? And some high vibe people right now, there could be people in their life that they could get in relationships with if they're not in relationships with them already. Taurus can represent all these different institutions of the world, workplaces, friendships, romantic relationships, organizations, philosophies of life, religions, all those things. Have we learned enough lessons in life to listen to our intuition so that as we're moving forward in life, looking to work together with people because we want a dream to come into reality, are we willing to listen to our intuition about who our intuition tells us don't exchange resources with those people? Those people might want to exchange resources with you, and they might present themselves as like they're someone who makes good decisions in their life. Because if the masculine figures can represent how people are presenting themselves in the world, but anybody can present themselves in the world any way they want. I'm just, I'm fair, I'm stable, I'm grounded, I'm loving, I'm supportive and encouraging, but anyone can wear a false mask. And so the masculine cards can just represent when we go take action out in the world is considered masculine energy. And people really don't know how we think and feel. And the feminine figures can tell us how people think and feel. But there can be a lot of people in the world that are like trying to present themselves like they are making good decisions in their life. If they were in a relationship with you, they would take you into consideration when they make decisions that would affect you also. And that you should hire them, you should be their friend, you should date them, you should marry them. But some of those people are not telling the truth. They're really more about their ego and their image and being indulged in a relationship. And they can put on a good show of presenting themselves as a more high vibrational person in order to get people to keep moving forward with them. But it's really more about how it benefits them. And maybe it doesn't have anything to do with love. Some people are in the midst of those types of relationships, and with anybody in our life at any time, we can know people at work that is like, yeah, I think they're a little more bossy. I think they're a little more manipulative. I think they're a little controlling. I think they're a little full of themselves. I think they're a little unwilling to look at things from anyone else's perspective. I think those people need to heal. Or they could think they're so smart, or maybe a know-it-all. That some people, shadowy Scorpio, can be people who are more superficial and shallow, and not somebody you can ever have kind of more of a deep, meaningful relationship with because they're not very deep. And, everybody's got some regrets of their past. And some people play the victim and poor, poor, pitiful me, and I was manipulated, Probably the people who were actually in relationships with people who acted in these shadowy ways, they've kind of dealt with it and they've moved on. Who plays more of the victim? The people who tried to manipulate other people, and those people left. But of course, they don't want them to know that those people left because they harness these ways of being in a shadowy way. So then it's to play poor, poor, pitiful me. I'm the victim, trying to manipulate other people into investing in them and indulging them. And as long as the people in their life are like, oh, this poor person, I feel so bad for them. The shadowy person's like, this is great. I got you just where I want you. This works for me. And then I can use all of that as an excuse of why I don't do more equal give and take in a relationship with you. But anybody can have gone through things in their life. I mean, if you're not ready for a more involved relationship, you should get out of a more involved relationship if some of these issues from your past still affect you. But when you're friends with people, you can treat other people the way you like to be treated and not use issues from your past as a reason for being in shadowy energy. It might be a way to try to control and manipulate people. And there's some people in the world, they don't want to do equal give and take. They like it to be more about them. And they're looking to find people who will make their life more about them. Your dreams aren't as important as my dreams. You aren't as important as me. It's more about me. You know? So we can get in these friendships and relationships and we can know different people. But where the shadowy people go wrong, because again, they don't listen to their intuition, because their intuition could be telling them you should do more equal give and take. You should act with more character and integrity. You shouldn't be repeating some of these old patterns. You shouldn't be being stubborn. You shouldn't be being bossy. You shouldn't be manipulative. It isn't more about you. This is not probably going to work out the way you want. But sometimes people think they're so smart, I don't have to listen to my intuition. I think I can get this to work out the way I want. But sometimes what they don't know is that they are dealing with other people who listen to their intuition, and especially if they're trying to manipulate someone who has that more hopeful, believing, loving spirit. It might work for a while, it might work for a long time. Leo and Taurus and Aquarius and Scorpio are all fixed sign energy. It's kind of the zodiac sign traits and qualities and stuff that we kind of tap into when we're involved in something. And high vibe people, they do actually invest in people emotionally, and they do put work and effort to try to make things be victorious and successful, and balanced and just and fair and loving and creative and inspired. And that's what some people are counting on. You keep putting in that work and effort to make this work, and as long as you kind of either don't see how you're repeating a past pattern where you could indulge people in their poor behavior, or you don't want to see the truth, because if you were to see the truth, maybe you'd have to speak your truth, stand up for yourself, maybe require other people to act in a more with character and integrity and justice and fairness. And you like those people, you love those people, you keep hoping the dream will come into reality. And that's the shadowy people are like, yeah, I'm counting on that. You keep thinking that way, and I'll keep indulging myself in this relationship. But there does come a point in time, everybody can get tired of feeling manipulated and people being bossy and controlling, and get tired of there not being more equal give and take. The shadowy people, they always let their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their being full of themselves, their stubborn nature, their regrets of the past, people in their life that could manipulate and control them in some way, they never work through it. They never free themselves from it. I mean, they could, but they haven't so far. But what they don't know about some of the high vibe people in their life is they don't realize that some of the high vibe people in their life harness this energy in a more high vibrational way, and the more shadowy people harness this energy in a more shadowy way. The high vibe people didn't know the shadowy people harness this in a shadowy way. The shadowy people didn't know the high vibe people harness this in a high vibe way. What are they? The World and the Knight of Pentacles. High vibe, the World can talk about closing out a cycle. I will put work and effort to try to make something work. But I'm not so much in my ego to keep deceiving myself. I do want to move forward in high vibe Virgo energy and truth and love and self-awareness and self-insight, not denial, not staying stuck. And I want to move forward with other people in the world who have some self-insight, self-awareness, who grow and heal and mature themselves and temper their ego, like I am doing within myself throughout my life, where I am willing to close out an old phase of life to move forward in life differently, Just like I quit being more like a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old. You know, we all have these phases of life. And if I keep putting work and effort into, which initially I could have really enjoyed that phase of life, but then there kind of comes a time where you kind of have some mental conflict about it. It's like, if I keep moving forward, living my life exactly the way I've been living it, just like I did at 15 or 18 or 21, then in the Six of Pentacles, it's like I'm not ever adding anything. It just keeps being the same thing back and forth over and over and over. But I am willing to add things that I learn into my philosophy of life for me to move forward in life differently. I live life at a phase of life. I have a way of viewing life. It's just and fair for me to live my life that way because that's how I view life. But as I live that phase of life, and I'm trying to manifest my dreams into reality, and in high vibe, I do want deep, meaningful relationships because some other relationships didn't work out the way I wanted. I am looking from the Five of Cups to the Six of Cups to offer that Ace of Cups, to have that new beginning and find the people in the world that I can do this equal give and take with in truth and love, to bring this dream into reality. And if I'm working with certain people and, time's going by, and for a long time things could have seemed good, but after a while, if it starts to seem that either some of the people, I start to realize that that my truth might not be their truth. My idea of the dream life or dream relationship, or how I want to move forward in a relationship, or what I think is just and fair and what they think is just and fair. And I might want a deep, meaningful relationship. They kind of like a more emotionally shallow, superficial relationship because, their emotions are confusing and they prefer to live more from their mind than their heart, or not really more emotionally invest themselves in a relationship because you get hurt doing that. Well, I don't want to do that again. So it's kind of more shadowy fire sign energy, can be where it's kind of more indulging themselves in the relationship, but not really more authentically investing themselves in it. And then people kind of start to feel like, I don't think my dream's going to come into reality here. And the other people might, we all could have thought we harness these energies the same. The people who don't want to maybe step out of their comfort zone, they have a way of living life, they want to keep living life like that. They never plan to step out of their comfort zone, give birth to anything new. No, we should just keep doing this over and over. This is what I like. This is how I want to live my life. But they can get in relationships with people who's like, I could have been happy living my life that way too, but doesn't there come a time where we kind of get tired of doing the same things over and over, and we're kind of willing to look at life differently? And maybe, again, I kind of look, that we kind of look at maybe what are the good building blocks to take with, and what are some of the building blocks that we've been working with that maybe we should let go of. you know, just different phases of life. What I want to do now for fun and enjoyment could needless be different than when I was at those younger stages of life, right? And some people like constantly want to live their life like a 15 or 21-year-old, right? And they never grow up. And it's like, that's fine. You can live your life the way you want, but I've seen the truth that I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And I'm kind of starting to see you don't. And we might like each other. And eventually people, initially is it really hard and everybody can be sad if people decide to go their own way. Could we all have been kind of helpful and encouraging because we both could have been beneficial to each other in different ways? It expanded our perception of ourselves and the world around us, just being in relationship with those people and those people being in relationship with us. But again, the whole point is to get more clear about what our truth is. And sometimes one person doesn't have to be more shadowy and one person more high vibrational. You could, we get in friendships and relationships and jobs, and then I know we just don't know that, and maybe more of these issues about our philosophy of life come up to play in a relationship, or big town, small town, uh what you're going to do, and just how things have went throughout the course, and you just kind of realize we're kind of on different pages. And some people, I think, though, when things kind of get off balance, both people could kind of want to end the relationship and not keep moving forward in it, because the world talks about ending something that you've been moving forward with to go invest in something else. I just think normally high vibe people, they, from a place of love, they were willing to keep working on it. And some other people, it might not, again, be love that really drives and motivates them anyway. So, of course, they don't want to tell the truth about why they didn't keep moving forward in it. Because it could be, here we have fire and water and the mind. Here we have the mind and the pentacles, and here we have fire again, water and the mind. Maybe it would require them to get a little more balance within themselves or stable within themselves, and quit kind of being more just inspired, letting like their emotions or their fiery nature, or yeah, because other than in the Magician card, that has some Virgo energy in it, but they might actually present, they don't have much, not very grounded. So that could be that they're not very practical. They could be smart. They could be all these things. They could be successful in a lot of ways in the world, but our shadow nature can be just our more immature nature. And they might hide that in the world, they might have these things of the world that kind of look very successful and makes them look very successful, or they could have gotten money somehow. But there's a lot of lessons they haven't learned, because it's our Virgo nature that goes within to learn lessons. And it could be just that they have no interest in learning lessons. If they do have a status or image or power in the world, or they're attractive or charming or whatever they think they got, they might think, I don't have to do equal give and take. I think there's going to be people who, because I have a certain status or image or power or influence or whatever, or I'm just full of myself, I think there's other people that would be willing to come and get in a relationship with me. And again, maybe indulge me in a relationship where I don't have to heal and grow and mature myself, because there's other people that need to heal and grow and mature. I'll just go get myself in a relationship with one of those people. And if they have more stability or status or whatever, because like a king, emperor, these are four major arcanas, and this is a minor arcana. They might purposely look to try to get in relationships with people who don't have as much as them in some regard, hoping that because those people are attracted to that, whatever it could be, that they'll be willing to keep going back and forth with them in a relationship instead of letting that relationship go. And to go from the one pentacle to the six of pentacles, you have to do the five of pentacles. And the five of pentacles can be detaching from an old foundation, and you might go through a period of feeling left out in the cold. Like if you were to detach from a certain friend, or a relationship, right? You kind of go through that period of feeling left out in the cold, and that can be really hard on people. And so some people would rather keep staying in something, even if they feel deceived and manipulated, even if they've been illuminated to the truth that something is not just and fair, or they've seen someone's more shadowy way of being, because they don't want to go through that period of feeling left out in the cold. But I think our intuition is telling us, you don't get it. You're going to be whatever you did have, because more shadowy people want you to give up your dreams and quit loving yourself and quit being balanced within yourself, quit standing up for what's just and fair. And eventually, it's going to probably get so bad where you feel like the only thing you have left is your truth. And some high vibe people get to that point, and it's like, I'm not willing to give up my truth. It's the last thing I have, which can even be just love for myself. And I'm not willing to give that up. And that's what, shadowy energy of the big picture is represented by the devil. The devil wants to get loving people to give up on loving and believing in themselves and believing in their dreams and giving birth to anything new, unless it is just more all about the ego and the image and the lust and the greed and the pride and the ego. And they want you to be more codependent. And that's kind of where you got to sell your soul. And some people, I can't live a life where I just completely stay in denial of the truth anymore. And they start to listen to their intuition about, why would I keep staying in this relationship? And right now there's people in relationships that are trying to manipulate people. They're trying to create an illusion that they're this loving and warm and tempered person, to get those people to keep moving forward in a relationship, either because they think it'll look good for their ego and their image, or those people have those things of the world that they want, and if they can get that person to move forward with them, then they look like a star in the world. But the shadowy people haven't healed from issues of the past, and they're not being authentic, and it's not love that drives and motivates them. And eventually some high vibe people have, and some high vibe people now are seeing the truth of some of the people that they're in a relationship with. It's all kind of more about you and how it benefits you. And I think you're bossy and controlling and stubborn and manipulative and immature and prideful and egotistical, and you want me to keep staying in a relationship with you because of how it benefits you. But you really could care less if I'm sad, if I'm hurt, if I feel deceived and manipulated. Oh, well, you're not going anywhere, right? So we're going to keep doing this, right? Okay, that works for me. Not very loving people, right? And that's when the high vibe people do this work. Like, why am I staying in this? Why am I investing time? Why have I been investing time, energy, and effort? It could be because they're in their family. I'm trying to be a good role model. I could have love for them. But, if I've offered people truth and love, and they keep showing me that they don't want to work together with me in truth and love, and they want to keep repeating the same pattern, then I'm going to wish you peace to go repeat that pattern with someone else. And what they don't realize is that the other people will do this work within themselves to work through the emotional confusion of it, and they will listen to their intuition. Their intuition is telling them, don't keep indulging these people. Bring your dream here. Get balanced within yourself. Invest in yourself. You might go through a period of feeling left out in the cold, but this person is depleting you and not investing in you and adding anything, while you're maybe giving and giving and giving. And they don't really want to give authentically at all. Just enough to keep people confused. And eventually the high vibe people are like, I'm going to offer a couple love to myself. I am going to listen to my intuition. I am going to distance myself from these people. I can be a loving and encouraging person to people from a distance. Do I want to be in a more involved relationship? I mean, we all can have friends or family members. Do I want to hang out with you more than I do? No. Do I wish you the best? Yes. If I see you in the world, do I have to yap at you about your life? Do I want you yapping at me about my life? No. Everybody has free will. I can respect that you have free will to live your life the way you want. Do I want to hang out with you more? No. If I see you out in the world, can I get along with you? Same way with people at work. Would I want to hang out with you more? No. If I do have to work with you and interact with you, can I treat you in a way that I am proud of? High vibe Taurus, I act with character and integrity. I treat other people the way I want to be treated. You might act in these certain ways of being. You are you. And I don't really, got to deal with people at where they're at. And then you work with them as little as you have to. And you hope that eventually other people who see the truth that, it's not very pleasant to work with this person. And maybe we should all listen to our intuition and kind of move on from them and let them do themselves somewhere else. Or I'm going to leave this job, or I'm going to distance myself from this situation. If other people want to keep staying, you can keep staying, but I'm leaving. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Leo energy that they might not see coming? The Ten of Cups in reverse. Why? Because of the Eight of Cups. So, the 8, the 9, and the 10 of Cups is Pisces energy. We all have our ideas of how we want to move forward in life. That's kind of the 8 of Cups. I have this way of moving forward in life. In high vibe, I want to be independent of repeating some poor past patterns. If I have tempered my ego, so I'm not bossy and controlling and stubborn and manipulative, and I've actually done the work to heal and deal with the truth, and I treat people the way I like to be treated, I want to be in relationships with other people who do that. And though there could be some people in my life, which could be family, but it could be friends, just people who I thought I would have that type of relationship, and the Ten of Cups can be like these more long-term relationships. I see I can't. I can only have that kind of emotionally fulfilling long-term relationship with people who also are more independent of their shadowy nature and who have tempered their ego and learned lessons in life to get more balanced and see that it is about truth and love and being more authentic and warm and loving and encouraging and doing equal give and take. And the people in the world who don't see that truth, I can't have that dream come into reality with them anyway, because that's not how they want to move forward. They want to keep moving forward, indulging in something else that drives and motivates them. So I think because you're willing to do this, there's going to be people in your life that you thought. And in the Six of Cups, if you were to go from the Six of Cups to the Ten of Cups, it's the Four of Cups. You're offering love to people for them to take that cup of love and to love themselves, to offer you that cup of love. And then back and forth, we have a high vibe Ten of Cups. All I can do is maintain balance within myself, treat people the way I like to be treated. And if that's not their truth, then I'm willing to let them go. And I am willing to move away from them and might go through a period of feeling left out in the cold, but the Eight of Cups walks away from the Seven of Cups, which in shadow can be that it's like an illusion. It's the illusion of love, but it's not love. And they could use the love that you have for them to keep trying to manipulate you. It's like, people who love me don't try to manipulate me. People who love me don't try to control me. People who love me don't act in a stubborn, prideful nature. People who love me see the truth, that they love me and they want to work together with me because that's what they're driven and motivated by from love. And if they're not doing that, then I need to see through the illusion that it's not love. And I want to be independent of people like that. I don't want to invest my time, energy, and effort into people like that. They can go invest their time, energy, and effort into other people, and I will go find people who want to do more equal give and take and be more authentic and warm and loving. People who've been enlightened to the truth about what's just and fair. And some other people got some lessons to learn, but some of them do not want to see the truth because they are more about themselves or these things of the world. And because you offered yourself that cup of love from the Six of Cups to the Eight of Cups, and you're aligning with your more hopeful, believing, loving nature, and kind of standing up for truth and love, making good decisions in your life, I have been enlightened to the truth. You basically, and shadowy people in my life and my own shadow nature, is trying to stop me from reconciling myself with issues from my past so I can't give birth to something new that I want to give birth to that's aligned with my dreams and is trying to oppress me or restrict me or imprison me or limit me in some way, and using the love that I have for them to do that. And it's like, no, you can go, the shadowy people can move forward in this energy with someone else, and I will take this time within myself to heal. And when I am ready and feel like I have worked through the regrets of this situation, then I will be ready to go have my new beginning, finding people in the world who are more on the same page as me. And I've also learned through this process that I can go back out there again because I've learned that my intuition, if I listen to it, tells me, you shouldn't do that. This isn't a good idea. I would not trust this person. And because I've gotten over my own fears and insecurities and lack mentality and am more balanced within myself, I will trust and believe and trust my more creative, inspired nature. And I also view High Vibe Leo as I can give myself what I wish other people would have given me. I'm not in my ego that I'm looking outside of myself for other people to validate my worth and value. That's like High Vibe Virgo. I know my worth and value. I know what I bring to the table. I know that I'm treating other people the way I like to be treated. And I know I'm treating and trying to be authentic and loving and encouraging and do equal give and take. And if there's people in the world who don't want to do that, I'm not going to be in my ego about it. I'm going to see that they made the free will decision to operate and are still operating more from their ego nature. And I see the truth that they might still need to heal because they're still manipulated by their ego or the past. And I don't want to repeat those old patterns. So I'll just wish you peace, and I'll keep listening to my intuition about who are people in the environment that seem to be more open to the good news of working together with people who aren't trying in turn to manipulate and control them. What's coming up for the more worldly, shadowy Leo energies that they might not see coming up? The Two of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, and the Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the Queen of Swords. So, again, the feminine figures can talk about how people think and feel. And then here, the Two of Wands is Aries energy. Over here, we start out with the Emperor, which is Aries energy. We can get in relationships with people and we think we harness these energies kind of on the same way. That we're both kind of motivated and inspired by the same things, that if I were in certain situations, this is kind of how I would handle it, and we think that's how they would handle it. And then we find out we harness our Aries energy differently, our Aquarius energy differently, our Taurus energy differently, and our Leo energy differently. Shadowy people in workplaces, friendships, and out in the world, they're always going to have people in their life who harness this energy in a more high vibrational way, who are inspired to do equal give and take with people, who have looked at life from a higher perspective. They've had situations in their life also that didn't work out the way they had wanted. but they looked at life from a higher perspective. They still believe in themselves. They still believe in their dreams. And those people wanted to be in relationship with some of these people. And some of these people are like, well, that's great, but I'm still going to act like this. And I'm never going to invest in working through my regrets of the past to get more balance within myself emotionally so that I can do more equal give and take with you to bring this dream into reality. And so long as you don't want to listen to your intuition and move away from me, then I guess you're always going to have that dream, and I'm going to keep being defensive, and we're going to keep exchanging resources in a relationship. And eventually, the high vibe people in their life see the truth of it. And they want their dream to come into reality, and they're not willing to give up their dream. And they see the truth that my dream can't come into reality with you. So instead of Aries energy can be about where we're trying to control the situation, like we think we're the boss, and that if we're like loving and encouraging to people, they'll change, and the shadowy people might think I can control you because you love me. And eventually the high vibe people harness a more fiery Leo energy to, they could have had a dream, a way of viewing the world that they thought was victorious and successful. They could have been a little bit more caught up in the world, and they're transitioning to maybe being less codependent and loving and believing in themselves. And I think all of us can all be more codependent for the first 30, 40 years of our life, where we're looking to other people, like, and the world to validate our worth and value and all these things of the world that we want. And then eventually it's like, you know what? Did I want that to come into reality? Yes. Is it coming into reality? No. And I just can't keep staying in denial of the truth. Can everybody feel betrayed? Yes. The shadowy people think the way they live their life is just and fair. They thought you were more caught up and going to stay more caught up in staying in a job, a friendship, or relationship for these reasons and things of the world or codependency. But during the course of that situation, you did some of this inner work to heal, and you're like not the same person that you were when you got into this. And some people are doing that work right now within themselves. So if you know some people in your life, though, and you most recently knew them, and they were in the energy of pride and ego and stubbornness and all that good stuff, probably not them. But there's just other people in the world who've kind of gone through this same situation like you have. And all of that life experience help them look at life from a higher perspective and put things in perspective. High vibe Aquarius energy. Making my things about these things of the world or my more codependent energies keeping me stuck. And I don't like feeling stuck, and I don't like feeling manipulated. Why do I stay in situations like this? Why don't I love and believe in myself and believe in my dreams? And that it forces people to do that work, to love and believe in themselves and offer love to their own issues of the past, and makes them work through those regrets of the past to come to a place of peace about it. And I don't want to repeat this old pattern. I've already been in relationships with people who act like this, and I don't want to keep staying in it. So I am going to exchange this situation for something new. And if that means I've got to go alone, and Virgo energy can mean alone, the Eight of Cups seems like they're going out into the dark, which can mean into unknown territory. I don't know what's out there. It's not all lit up. I can be tempted to stay where I'm at because I know how everything works here. And Pisces is also represented by the moon card. I have to go into unknown territory, and that can be scary. And Pisces moon can talk about our fears. I'm not going to let my more shadowy, fearful, codependent nature and other people in my life who are more shadowy, manipulative, egotistical, hurtful, unkind, whatever ways of being manipulate me either. And I'm going to, from a place of love, I'm going to temper my ego about it, put it in perspective. You have a different way of living life than I do. You have free will to live your life. I might have already lived my life like that, and I've kept repeating it. Might not be good, wasn't good for me, but I kept repeating it. But, sometimes someone has to be the last person you're repeating that pattern with. And then you move on in life differently, more independent, got maybe more balance, because if we're in our shadow nature, we're kind of tipped out of balance where we're either indulging ourselves in poor behavior or us and other people. You can be a loving person, but you like indulge people in their shadowy nature, and it's an equally out of balance relationship. You give, 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 and they take, take, take. It's like, I don't want to be in those type of relationships anymore. I need to get more grounded. I need to get more balanced and stand up for what I believe in. And if people are a little bit more about themselves and they aren't more inspired by love, then they can go be more about themselves with someone else. So, anyway, they could have some people in their life who see the truth, friends, family members, whoever, that are done. I wanted a dream to come into reality. It's not coming into reality. I can only temper myself and indulge people for so long, and then I'm done investing in them. Am I sad? Yeah. But I've done, the whole time I've been loving and encouraging, I've been coming to a place of peace about the fact that it might not work out. Where the other people, they're kind of so much in their ego and think they're so good at manipulating people, are so full of themselves. When it happens to them, they feel betrayed. Because some creative, inspired people in their life who wanted to do equal give and take with them, who had been kind of indulging them in their poor behavior, finally stood up and said, I'm done. And then they're the ones who are mad. Well, I thought it was just and fair. You should have kept doing that. It's like, I guess it was my free will for as long as I wanted to do it, and I don't want to do it anymore. And then they're mad. But then they also don't want two cards that can be about being illuminated to the truth, because I view the Queen of Wands as Leo energy, also represented by the Sun, and the Queen of Swords, the star, and looking at life from a higher perspective. Some of those people, shadowy Aries, they are more about themselves, and they don't want to see the truth, and they also don't want to be in relationships with people who are more inspired by truth and love, because that's not their truth. I mean, they would stay in it and indulge themselves in it until, you want it to be a more just and fair relationship. It's like, oh, gigs up, huh? Okay, I gotta go. And then they go to go find someone else who they think might be stuck, who might be sad and healing. I'll go try to manipulate this person, present myself as this loving, nurturing person, but I'm hiding the fact that about what my truth is. I might be hiding the fact that I'm more in it for my ego and image, or money, or materialistic reasons, or status, and that it's just to be in a relationship for how it benefits me. And you're just like a pawn that I'm using. And it's hard to believe that some people think that way, but that, for every person on this side of duality who is more motivated and inspired by hope and faith and belief and love, where you do treat each other in a just and fair way, there's equally people on the opposite side who can present themselves as being that type of person, but what drives and motivates them is they don't operate from a foundation of love. They don't like that other people, they could just think you're a sucker and you're a fool, and they're going to try to be the next person to manipulate you. And then I think as time goes by, it can get harder and harder for shadowy people to find a loving person to manipulate, because loving people have already been manipulated by other people. And then what they don't see coming is they might end up being in a relationship with someone like themselves, who also is kind of a little bit more about themselves, also kind of stubborn and prideful and a little full of themselves and thinks everybody should be blessed to be in a relationship with them and should indulge them in their ego, and who tries to also manipulate people to get them to do what they want. I will use my emotions, I will use my sexuality, I will use my words, I will use my looks, I will use my charm, I will use my money, my status, my ego, my image, and everything to try to manipulate you to keep staying in this relationship until I decide I might see something better. Because if I'm not in it for love, I'm always looking for what it is that I am in it for: status, ego, image, being indulged. And if I find someone who might be hurt, who's sad, that might indulge me more than you indulge me, or they have more status or power or influence than you do, sorry, then I'm going to leave. And then they'll feel betrayed because they thought for sure this was the way to get their dreams to come into reality. And if they get people to stay, it might be a relationship that neither one of them want to be in, but because of the status and the ego and image and the illusion it creates in the world, and that's the most important thing in their shadowy Leo energy of self, they're going to stay in it, even though secretly they would like to end it. And they're going to see other people who are more independent, doing equal give and take with people, enjoying their life, being in more deep, meaningful relationships. And then they might eventually one day in their life realize that I made a mistake, but they still probably wouldn't be willing to admit it. But they could be sad that they weren't willing to do this work, because eventually at some point in time it might be illuminated to them that, oh shit, it was because of these things that I acted like that to begin with. And some of them, they just weren't willing to live their more authentic life, and so they made their life more about conforming to the world and other people. So there you go, Leo. High vibe people have decided they've been enlightened to the truth. They want justice. They're going to love and believe in themselves. They're going to temper their ego, deal with their past pain and heartbreak, quit investing in an old way of viewing life and types of relationships. They're going to make peace with the past, their own past, how other people need to reconcile them or would benefit from reconciling themselves with issues from their past, but they're maybe not doing it. And I'm going to listen to my intuition, and I'm going to go out there in the world to find people who enjoy just being around pleasant people who aren't trying to manipulate and control you. And the other people will watch them probably doing it, and watch them exchanging resources with people who do harness this energy in a more high vibrational way, who are loving and warm and balanced and do equal give and take, and they'll probably keep feeling betrayed. But they weren't willing to do that. So they'll probably keep staying angry all their life, blaming other people because other people weren't willing to indulge them, but they're so manipulated by their ego, they don't even realize that the way they act in a relationship is hurtful and unkind. And people don't want to keep working with them, but they don't want to see the truth of it, because then they'd have to admit it's not all about them. And for some of them, their ego just can't take that. So there you go. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.